Captain on the bridge.
Alright, captains, we are back here on the bridge, and today, yes, we will be going over our favorite moments from Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 3, 17 seconds. But before we do so, captains, do us a favor, like the video, also subscribe here to the YouTube bridge, as we're always on the lookout for fellow captains where we can share our love and passion for Star Trek and all things, of course, Star Trek Online. But with that said, here we go. So captains, yes, third episode in so far, and we are just enjoying our experience so far. And a lot of people are telling me, and even I'm saying, that a lot of it is being probably produced by nostalgia. And I don't care. I'm all for the nostalgia. This is why I watch a Star Trek, is to experience those moments, especially ones that take me back to my childhood. So what we're going to do is go over the fave moments. Now, in my previous video of favorite moments from Star Trek Picard, I did both episodes 1 and 2. This time I'm just going to do episode 3, and it's going to be moments. It was really hard to pick just one. There's 3 moments in particular here that I want to go over. Of course, we'll drop our thoughts as we do so. So here we go. First one up on screen. Yes, this moment. Now, I've said my total thought on Captain Shaw has almost done a complete 180 from essentially piss off to please don't die. And I think that speaks volume to not only the actor but the character himself. And this moment, I absolutely just was floored, because he really filled the moment. And this was where, when the Titan was attacked by the Shrike, when they were found, and they were all tossed on the bridge essentially, and he got the worst of it, so much so that he had to be brought to a sick bay. But before he did that, he did this. He said, "You." And he was pointing at Riker, and he said, "You got us into this. You're going to get us out of this." And he transferred the command of the Titan to Riker. And I thought that was a really cool moment. And again, him, of course, obviously realizing the moment, knew that would be the best. Of course, he was really injured too. Not only did he suffer a head injury there, he was actually coughing up blood, which of course meant, and we found out later in the episode that Beverly figured out that he was bleeding internally, but he also had something lodged in his leg, so he had to be brought to sickbay there. But this moment made me a fan. I'm a fan, and I'll say right now, I would not mind a spin-off show of Captain Liam Shaw, captain of the USS Titan A. Yes, I said it. I'm for it, and I'd love to see that happen. Remember, this did kind of sort of happen in Discovery when we all met Pike. I'm not saying he's Pike level. He's definitely not Pike level, but he's an interesting character, and I would love to explore his character and get to know his character more. Maybe a little bit of background, but more so just his isms. He's got these Liam isms, and I'm all for it. And again, that's the moment he said, just again, that you, and of course, next slide here, Riker, with some humbleness, took it, right? Riker took the command of the ship, and it was obviously not intended. And, you can tell, for me, in this moment, I felt that when I'm looking at this screenshot, that he felt the weight of what had happened. Well, obviously what's happening, but for the most part, the situation that they got themselves into. So this is where it did a turning point in the relationship, especially between him and Picard. So that's the one favorite moment there. Next, speaking of Riker and Picard, this moment. I don't know why Picard said it that way, but this was essentially shortly after that, where Riker gave orders to fire a photon torpedo and then fire phaser at it, And of course, Picard was actually a step ahead and already did it. And he said, "Thank you, Admiral. Thank you, Jean-Luc." And he's like, "Maybe you should call me number one." And again, this is the change of the dynamics of the relationship because, of course, as we know at the end of the episode, he was actually removed from the bridge because of his persistence in wanting to fight the Shrike, which was definitely the wrong move. And now the Titan is out of commission as of the last episode. But after that moment, you see Picard say that, you kind of see a sense of pride in Riker. And again, Riker in both of these moments, I think Riker is doing such an awesome job of him being involved, but not too involved. Everyone's getting their time to shine. And I quite appreciate that. Like I said, even Liam Shaw himself is becoming I can't say I love him, but he's good. He like I said, he's filling up the screen, and I just quite enjoy it now. So those two moments, they were back to back, and of course, I was all for it. I really was all for both of those moments. The new moment, of course, of Liam Shaw, and of course, the old moment between the showcasing of the friendship between, of course, Riker and Picard. So, but we'll get to my actual fave moment. This definitely was the one that did it for me because it was the one that really set the tone of the whole, I guess the tone of that storyline and what we're going to be into, because it really was just such a treat when it came to seeing one of the legacy characters come back, and not only come back, but come back in such a force. And of course, that was our good friend Worf. I mean, just his entrance in the last episode was epic. Then you have this moment here, and this was the moment where Raffi was just waking up there on the La Serena, and Worf was training there, but Raffi tried to sneak up on him because she didn't know who actually it was. And then, of course, she actually kind of geeks out when she finds out it is Worf. But then, as she tries to sneak up, Worf literally jumped her, I guess, and took her pistol away. And this is the moment. Now, I'm going to play this. Hopefully, it doesn't get copyrighted. But this was the moment where I knew this was going to be a sound command on the Twitch bridge. So I'm going to just play this moment. I'll see if they copyright it. I'll take it out. If not, I'll explain it after. So I'm just going to play it right now.
I am Worf, son of Moog, House of Martok, son of Sergei, House of Roshenko, bane to the Duras family, slayer of Gowron. I have made some chamomile tea. Do you take sugar?
It's so good. It's so good. So it's the moment that he starts saying, I am Worf, son of Moog, son of Roshenko, the House of Roshenko, and all that stuff, and slayer of Gowron, bane to the Duras family. And the way he delivered was so, confident. And then all of a sudden, what do you have at the very end? I have made some chamomile tea. Do you take sugar? That's it. So good. So good. This moment made me laugh. And it wasn't even just this moment. The other moment, too, was when he was chasing, or they were both chasing, him and Raffi, the changeling. At that time, didn't know it was a changeling, but he literally choke slammed him. But there was a little bit of a conversation prior to that where Raffi was kind of poking fun at what Worf was wearing in terms of his clothing. And she was saying, is it like beheading Tuesday or something for his casual wear, as Worf said. And then after the choke slam, he said, no, beheadings are on Wednesdays. So, if this is what Worf is going to do, is going to be providing these sort of comedic, lighthearted moments, I'm all for it. And I'm not saying it's poking fun at, the character Worf itself. I just think it's also showing just a non-serious side, a serious and a non-serious side at the same time, because his delivery of that line was just so good. You can hear in his voice the way, and he said Bane to the Duras family, and then of course I've made some just a complete shift from what he was introducing there in that whole line. All of a sudden, boom, do you take sugar? So there you go, Captains. Those are my favorite moments from episode 3, 17 seconds, that really stood out to me. And again, what's really surprising me is Captain Liam Shaw. So I hope we get to see more of him after Picard season 3, but only time will tell. We're 3 episodes in Star Trek Picard, the final season, and these 3 episodes, in my opinion, knocked it out of the park. And I essentially my scores were like 9.99 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and I gave this one a 9.9. It's essentially all 10s, okay? It's essentially all 10s, and that's just speaking to probably my nostalgia, but also I think the Star Trek writers listening to what we want as the fans, especially it being a quote unquote, what they said, a love letter to TNG. Not only TNG, to Voyager and DS9, which we saw in this episode. The Voyager, we even saw a replica ship of Voyager in Seven's quarters, of course, and a nod to DS9 via the Changeling. So I'm all for it. I really am. And at the end of it all, I do hope that this does spawn another TV spin-off for Star Trek. Hopefully also carrying on the Titan, because it's a great ship. The shots of it in this episode was just beautiful. So I really do hope that they carry that on, and that the Titan A gets its own show with Captain Liam there at the head. So Captains, there you go. Thought we would share that. Do us a favor. Like the video, comment below, let us know what your favorite moments were in this episode, 17 seconds. And then of course, subscribe here to the YouTube Bridge, as we're always on the lookout, as I mentioned, for like-minded and fellow captains. We will do this again before the next episode, or after the next episode, when we figure out which is our favorite moments from episode 4. With that said, Captains, we will leave it on this note.
Live long and prosper.